It's been almost 6 decades since Algeria won independence after 132 years of French colonial rule. And even though the era was marked by torture, murder, looting, and the erasure of identity, France still won't apologize for its colonization of Algeria. France occupied Algeria from July 1830 up until July 1962 and committed brutal colonial crimes. In 1871, France passed the Indigenous Peoples Law. It confiscated the majority of arable land in the country and allowed European settlers to exploit the wealth of the nation, while expelling Algerians to mountainous and arid regions and restricting their movement. Europeans also took control of most of Algeria's trade, manufacturing, and mining. Europeans got rich while Algerians got poor. By 1953, more than 60% of Algerians were classified as destitute. The French also placed higher colonial taxes on Algerians than on Europeans, and looted the country's treasures, including the Emirates Palace in Algiers. During the conquest beginning in 1830, France demolished major metropolitan mosques, burnt down villages, and desecrated cemeteries. In the 19th century, Algerians relied on religious schools in order to learn to write. The French disrupted these schools by taking away their source of income, all Islamic endowments, and then refusing to allocate the schools any money. This led to high levels of illiteracy, and Arabic was sidelined in school curriculums. In 1836, France opened the first Catholic missionary school in Algeria as part of a civilizing mission for a small number of children. The curriculum was entirely French. In the first 3 decades of French conquest in Algeria, 100,000 French settled in the country. During this time, it's estimated that 500,000 to 1 million Algerians out of a total population of 3 million died because of war, disease, and famine. In 1945, after the Allied victory against Nazi Germany, pro-independence protests broke out. The French responded by launching a 15-day military campaign around Sétif, a town in the eastern part of the country. They imposed military law and murdered men, women, children, and the elderly. 44 villages were destroyed. Algerian official figures say that 45,000 Algerians were massacred, while many French and Western historians say that between 15,000 to 20,000 people were killed. 9 years later, the War for Independence began and 1.5 million Algerians lost their lives. In 2018, France admitted that during the war, France passed laws which allowed forces to detain suspects and systematically torture them. The torture included waterboarding, electrical shocks, being buried alive, being thrown from helicopters, and sexual assault and rape. The French carried out 17 nuclear tests between 1960 and 1966 in the Algerian desert. Some were carried out after independence under agreement between the two countries. The underground shafts were not properly sealed during the experiments, and many people living near the sites reported birth defects and cancer. Activists believe the sites are still contaminated and have campaigned for the French to clean up the area, but nothing has happened. In 2021, President Emmanuel Macron said France would set up a Memory and Truth Commission to review its colonial past in Algeria. The recommendation for the commission came from a state report in Algeria which aimed to achieve reconciliation of memories between the two countries. But despite the brutal French colonial legacy in Algeria, the report ruled out France issuing an official apology or the possibility of any reparations.